Hey guys, Anthony, 4x4 diesel and all that stuff. Now, we're changing front wheel bearings on a 120 Prado, but it doesn't matter if it's a 120 or 150 because basically, well, exactly the same, not even basically, exactly the same. Now, I want to point out something, it's a bit of a tech tip situation, something that you could or should do. You don't have to. Now, the situation is, this was quite rusty in here because what happens is, the O-ring isn't 100% from the ABS sensor here and a little bit of moisture gets in and then you get this surface rust. We've spent a fair bit of time cleaning it up. You know, you could be there forever, but it's good enough because it's a lot better than what it was, right? And you can see there's an O-ring that sits. You can't see it at the moment. It's on the bearing. Let's go to the bearing. Rightio. Here's the old bearings we removed. There's the old seals we removed. When you change the bearing, you've got to change the seal. Don't try and skimp out because these are nearly $100 each genuine. Don't skimp out. Just do the job right the first time. That's why we sell the Prado front wheel bearing kit, the whole bit assembled, 6 genuine parts professionally pressed together. Do it properly. Don't skimp on that seal. Okay. You can see there's an O-ring. My point of coming over here to see the O-ring there, this slips in, right? It's on the other side of the vehicle now, right? This one's a lot cleaner, right? And that's what you want. You want it to be looking clean like that, don't you? So, obviously we're going to clean it up. We're going to clean out that hole where the ABS sensor is as well. A bit more cleaning to go yet. Directly before we put the sensor in, put the screwdriver through the ABS sensor hole with a rag, you know, give it a polish out. But what I'm saying is there's an O-ring and it sits up against this surface. So this needs to be cleaned for the O-ring to work. But what can help an O-ring is having some lubrication with the O-ring, but we can go next level, right? So this is what we've been doing for years. I put grease all over every surface. Basically, to put it simple, all the way from this edge right here, so you draw a perimeter line, that flat surface, this surface here, that surface there, and that one there, that whole surface, I'm going to put about 0.5 millimeter thickness of grease. I don't care what grease. I'll use Copperies because it's nice and thick, high temperature, you know, before it melts and all that. It's not going to melt. You could put HTV grease, you could put any other grease, anything to keep that lubricated, basically to repel any moisture from making surface contact. So what's happened here, this has stayed pretty dry in here, you can see. No rust, looks good, doesn't it, right? Out here, there's nothing really. They just put it together dry and it's that flat surface of the back of the bearing against this spindle or hub, whatever you want to call it. What do we call this? We call this the steering knuckle, or you can call it the spindle if you like. That's this piece here, right? You know, the piece that everything bolts to. Let's call it the steering knuckle, right? That's what we're going to call it, the steering knuckle. Hey, Johnny, you happy with that? This is going to be called the steering knuckle, yeah? Is that what you call it? Is that what you call that, steering knuckle? Or you want to call it the spindle? What else would you call it? There's no other name, yeah, not really, because you got lower arm. It's going to confuse. So that is the steering knuckle, all right? That's what it's going to be. Right, now, flat area here, give it a good clean up, right? A little bit of grease. Why? Because what happens is if that's pressed, the bearings on, and it's nice and tight at these bolts, there's minimal space in here. See those little machine grooves you can see? If there's grease there, moisture isn't going to come down from the top and sit in there and cause that little bit of rust, and it's not going to get all the way. See here, it's got all the way to the edge of the O-ring. See right there? That's what it is, right? But you have grease there, beautiful. More grease on the O-ring and at this area, beautiful. It just helps the O-ring. Grease in here, even better. So if some moisture does get in like the other side, that grease is going to help prevent some corrosion. Over here on the back lip, that's good because that's where that seal we've popped out goes in. It's going to help the seal slide in. That's also going to help it seal. So that's how we roll here. It works. Bada bing. So this is what we're using. We're using the Penrite Copperies. We use this for a lot of... See, it's thick. Let's have a look. It's going to give you the temperature. It's going to give you the melting point somewhere here. There you go. Temperature range 1 to 1,000 degrees. Minus into 1,000 degrees, right? Bada bing, non-melt. Now that's what I call a paint job. Good work, mate. Beautiful. Now for you and everybody else, this is plenty. You could probably go a little bit less, but it's actually not bad. It looks like, when you look at it, it looks like a lot, but the more I look at it, it's pretty well bang on perfect. And it wouldn't matter if you get a little bit in the threads of the bolt holes and stuff like that as well. You know what I mean? You just don't want it out on places where it's going to melt and get on brakes, discs, and other moving parts where it's going to cause problems, all right? So just... this is what we want it to look like, and then the seal will get installed from the back. Then the drive shafts will go back. We're going to give the drive shaft, of course, we'll yet to give that a bit of a wipe just to start off fresh, because we don't want any of that sandy grit on that seal there getting into this nice new clean area. So we're going to just give, doesn't need to be perfect, we're going to give the drive shaft ends a wipe before they go in. That'll happen after the seal goes in. Now this is clean. It's all lubed. The other side's getting clean and lubed and all that happy days, right? The drive shaft will come in. Once that's, sorry, no. The seal will come in, what I'm saying. So it's all clean, it's all lubed. The seal will get installed from behind. This is just disconnected with the 2 bottom bolts, right? See that? Right? And we get in from behind. Pop that seal in, nice and easy. You can even do it without any tools. Really gently with a rubber mallet on that metal ring, and it'll just slide in nicely, nice and square. Trust me, you won't damage it. It's real easy to do. We've got other videos. It's in our playlist, probably front bearings, hub information, that sort of thing. Once that seal's in, then we're ready to put this drive shaft in. That's when we're going to get the rag. We're going to give this a clean up till we're happy. Put a probably won't even worry about this, but maybe a very light smear of, not this grease, because see, could be rubbing on something. Let me just think it through, in behind the seal. So we don't want this grease in that area there, even though it doesn't matter, right? This is a non-moving part, surface protection. That's why I chose this grease. This one here, it's actually, see, it's not making, shouldn't be making contact, but it's spinning, and just in case it does make contact, down here we'll use like the Moly EP 3%. I'm not talking about greasing it and lubing it up and coating it in grease like you're packing bearings. I'm talking about a super light coating, like similar to what's there, even lighter than this. This doesn't bother me because we're going to put the bearing in. It's just going to slide. We're going to wipe any excess off anyway. It's going to squish out. If it is, there's going to be no excess. I hope you get my drift, yeah? I've explained myself very clearly, haven't I? If I have, hit the like button. If I haven't, put in the comments, mate, can you please explain yourself more clearly? No, don't do that, because I will. And there it is with the new seal in place, right? You can see it's been gently placed in, and it's got the standard lubrication on it from factory. And the top tech tip when you're getting it all back together is don't forget the backing plate, because people forget, because it's easy enough, you know, you got to get your drive shaft through, right through, without hitting the axle on the seal, blah, blah, blah. You want to do all that. But then you got this thing, don't forget, because, you know, you kind of like, you're gently tightening this up while, and not to specification yet, while you're tightening these 17 mils behind up. Right, and you just want to make sure the guard's lined up in its locating holes, and it's a slow process. Take your time, bada bing. But that's a video. Just wanted to talk to you about those few tech tips, things we do. Now we're just going to throw the rotor back straight over the top. It all needs a bit of a clean up, whatever, but we're just demonstrating. Hat type rotors go straight over the top like that, and then of course the caliper will go back on. It's all tied up out of the way at the moment, and everything double, triple check. And thanks for watching. Hope you liked it. Subscribe, turn the bell on, hit the like button and all that stuff, and catch you on the next one, guys. See ya.